I lived in this apartment for almost a year before I noticed the door. That doesn't mean they appeared later. This means that my brain seems to have refused to see them for a long time. The apartment was typical of an old American house. A narrow corridor, a living room with a kitchen studio, a bedroom, and a bathroom. Nothing special. I knew every creak of the floor, every crack in the ceiling. Even the shadow of the street lamp outside the window always fell the same way. So when I stopped in the middle of the corridor one evening and felt something was wrong, it was almost physically painful. The door was where it used to be just a wall. Narrow, dark, without a handle. Matte wood, a little older than anything else in the apartment. They didn't look new. They looked like they had always been here. I stood in front of them for a minute. Then two. I tried to remember. Maybe it's a pantry? The old entrance that I just ignored? I touched the door. Cold. Not just cool, strangers. As if they didn't belong to this room. I opened them exactly a few centimeters. There was darkness behind them. Not a room. Not a closet. Not space. Just darkness that didn't reflect the light from the corridor. I closed the door and convinced myself that I was tired. The next morning, I checked the plan of the apartment that I received from the manager of the house. There was no door in that place. I called the manager. "Your apartment never had a door in the hallway," he said after a pause. "There's a load-bearing wall." I laughed, but the laughter sounded fake. In the evening, the door was in place. The first sound I heard on the third night. I was lying in bed when there was a faint breath somewhere behind the wall. Not the wind. Not pipes. Equal. Patient. The breath was behind the door. I got up and came closer. When I stopped for a meter, my breath stopped. As if someone knew what I was listening to. The next night I heard a whisper. "You went to bed late again." The voice was quiet. English. Ordinary. And he knew my schedule. I didn't answer. I started taking pictures of the door. In the photo, they looked a little different, darker, as if deeper than in reality. When I sent pictures to my friends, they said the same thing. "Are you kidding me? It's just a wall." I stood in the hallway, looked at the door, and saw smooth paint on the screen. At some point, I realized that I was the only one who could see them. Every day, the apartment changed in small things. The furniture seemed to move closer to the corridor. The light in the bedroom became dimmer. The temperature dropped every night at exactly 2:17. And the door. They were breathing. They didn't move. They didn't squeak. But I felt the pressure of the air, as if there was a space behind them that slowly expanded. Sometimes the whispers became clearer. "You've always avoided this place. You know why the wall here was comfortable. We are patient." I started sleeping with the light on. One night, I woke up to the sound of the TV. I didn't turn it on. The voice of the news anchor sounded muffled, from behind the door. He talked about an event that happened many years ago. About the accident. About the person with my name. I turned off the sound in my apartment. The TV outside the door continued to speak. Then I tried to open the door wider. The darkness has not changed. But now she had a sense of presence. It was as if the space on the other side was looking at me. "We were waiting for you to be ready," the voice whispered. "You've always been here in part." I slammed the door and taped it. Then the boards. Then he put the closet down. The next morning, the closet stood still. And the door was in the living room. I realized that the apartment was no longer in the plan. I started to find things I didn't remember. Photos with other people. Everyone looked past the camera. A notebook with my handwriting, but other people's memories. On the last page it was written, "Do not open completely, but if you open it, don't turn around." On the final night, the door was opposite my bed. They were a little open. From there, the light poured, wrong, without a source. I heard the breath, now native, almost calming. "You're tired of being half," said the voice. "We just want to finish the planning." I came up. There was a corridor behind the door, the same as mine, and I stood in it with my back to me. I realized everything at the moment when my double slowly began to rotate. I don't know if I took a step forward. All I know is that I am writing this now, sitting in an apartment without unnecessary doors. But every night, at exactly 2:17, I hear someone on the other side of the wall. Will feel a pen that should not exist.